Well, howdy there, everyone. Welcome back for another week. This marks another in my series. Which one am I doing this week? From book to film. That's it, from book to film. Today, I'm taking a good look at one that I saw in the theaters back in the 90s, and I've never read the book, so I thought, well, I'll take another look at it. It's been 30 years. 30 years since this movie came out, 1995. No way. That's not happening. No. Anyway, the book is Devil in a Blue Dress by Walter Mosley. Not my copy, library copy. Patronize your local library. Or if you're like in a small town or something, maybe where they don't have a library or you're having trouble getting access, maybe join an online book exchange. Is that a thing? That's gotta be a thing, right? Anyway, Devil in Blue Dress by Walter Mosley. Copyright 1990 by W.W. Norton and Company. Now, a bit about the author, as I always do to start. Walter Mosley was born in Los Angeles in 1952, a product of a mixed-race couple. His father worked as a clerk for the Army during World War II. Both parents encouraged their only child to think deeply and to read many books. He drifted through several colleges before earning his degree in political science from Johnston State. Becoming a computer programmer, he was working for Mobil Oil when he decided to take a course in writing from City College in Harlem. His writing career officially started at age 34, and he claims to have written every day since. He has also written a stage play entitled The Fall of Heaven, and has worked on several television series and graphic novels, but prefers to be known as a novelist, stating that he likes to write black male heroes, as there is a dearth of these in popular fiction. Among many, his literary awards include the O. Henry Award, an Edgar, an NAACP Image Award, and the Langston Hughes Medal. Devil in a Blue Dress is his first published novel, and the debut of his enduring character Ezekiel "Easy" Rawlins. There have been to date 16 novels in the series, the latest having been published in 2024. So, to the book. 220 pages in length. It's got a smooth narrative. It is an easy enough read. It is a classic introductory type detective story, with this man being picked as an easy mark by unsavory types as he is out of work and in need of money. So they think they can manipulate him. Now, Rawlins, our hero, is a World War II vet and a machinist who has just been let go from his job, and he refuses to beg for it back out of principle. But he doesn't want to lose his house. So, a white man called Albright manages to get in touch with him and says he will pay him to find a white woman called Daphne and pass along information on her whereabouts. Although he is suspicious, Rawlins goes ahead and takes the offer, and gets embroiled in mystery and intrigue and murder as a result. A proactive character who is determined to be nobody's fool. He manages to unravel the mystery behind it all, behind the mystery, I guess, and he manages to emerge relatively unscathed, although sometimes by the skin of his teeth. It's a story that's been told many times before, with the difference that this detective is also having to navigate a racist society where the deck is stacked against him. This is an engaging yarn and quite an enjoyable ride, and it's also a good look at true history from a personal angle. Also definitely an adult novel with lots of sex and violence. I enjoyed this book. The only thing I really had an issue with was the too many characters issue. By the end, Rawlins is doing the classic detective wrap-up. He's explaining not only who done it, but also who done what and when and where. And I was completely lost by then as to who or what this or that even was. Also, there's a minor point, but throughout the story, the hero gets hit on the head several times by antagonists, which had me wondering how he was still possibly up and moving. One thing I did think was neat was the description. Now, there's been much discussion on the internet, social media type of place about the predilection of authors to describe people of color in terms of food. Well, there wasn't much describing people in terms of food here, but he did makes selective use of color when describing people, particularly white people. And for the most part, it's not done in a way that comes across as complimentary, although it's not overtly uncomplimentary. Now, a great example is Albright himself. He is a white man. His socks are white, his gun holster is white, his wallet is white, only his jacket is described as off-white. His eyes are blue, I believe, and his hair is kind of a red blonde. This guy is not only a white man, he is a cold fish. Come to that, not a single white person in the story could be described outright as good or even necessarily sympathetic. Daphne Monet elicits some sympathy, at least on the part of Rollins, but A, he's attracted to her, which could affect his judgment, and B, at the end, spoilers! At the end it is revealed she is only white passing. All of these characters are flawed. Even Rollins has only a brief tussle with his conscience before betting his buddy's girlfriend, but there is definitely less sympathy overall for any of the white characters, if only for the very good and clear reason that none of them have any sympathy whatsoever for the black characters. Even at the end, when Rollins is doing that wrap-up story to Deputy Mayor Lawrence Wright-Smith seems to be listening with a sympathetic enough ear, but by now you've really got the idea that white people cannot be trusted, and it's clear he has his own motives at play here. So, this is an enjoyable yarn when it comes to a detective story, with more than a bit of commentary that is not subtle, but it makes a lot of sense for it to be there, because overt racism is very much a part of the story which affects these characters' day-to-day lives. And with that, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the novel. Let's segue to the movie. Released in 1995 by TriStar. I was so excited when I saw that Pegasus on the screen. Directed by Carl Franklin, who also adapted the screenplay. Franklin is a director who started as an actor, appearing in many television episodes throughout the 70s and 80s. His other directorial work includes the films One False Move and Out of Time, also with Denzel Washington. Largely, he's been directing television episodes of such fare as HBO's Rome and House of Cards. Washington and he were going to collaborate on a trilogy of Rollins films, but this never came to be. This is probably due to the fact that, although the film did decently well with critics and won several awards, including the Edgar Allan Poe Award for Best Picture, it only broke even at the box office. As stated, the film stars Denzel Washington as Easy Rollins. Also, we have Jennifer Beals as Daphne Monet, Don Cheadle as Rollins' violent loose cannon friend Mouse, and Maury Chaykin as slimy mayoral candidate and pedophile Matthew Tehran. As an adaptation, the film works decently well. I was surprised at how faithful it was for the first 2/3 and thought I'd only have to nitpick differences. However, the last third changed quite a lot, streamlining several plot points into a different tack involving blackmail over incriminating photos involving Tehran. The finale does circle around to more the ending of the book than less, so overall the adaptation might be called decently faithful as these things go. Notable differences would be Tehran's being a successful mayoral candidate, giving him something to hide, therefore the blackmail plot works, instead of having him already sidelined. The cutting of several scenes, including a sojourn to a brothel, and mainly a quite extended section where Daphne and Easy consummate their relationship, and she reveals more about herself, which serves to flesh out her character and show why she is a sympathetic sort, but also not. As this bit of work is lost from the story, she doesn't come across that way in the film, complex that is. We're led to believe that Daphne did what she did for love, when in the book, her character is so complex and a little lost that we're never quite certain of her motives because perhaps she's not entirely clear on them herself. When it comes to the performances, it was not that hard to see Washington as Rollins all the way through the book. I couldn't recall who else was in the movie since it's been 30 years, so I was free to imagine them how I liked. Chaykin was an excellent Tehran, although he is arguably excellent in anything, or was, R.I.P. Don Cheadle works as Mouse, and won a couple of awards and critical acclaim for his performance, although he doesn't get as much screen time as he should. Jennifer Beals is subjective. She didn't do badly or anything, but I personally found nothing memorable or even particularly interesting in her performance. However, if you're a Jennifer Beals fan, you'll probably find more there than I was picking up on. For me, she just wasn't Daphne Monet. Tom Sizemore's Albright was where I found the most to dissect. His performance was good, and he had the menace required. I just didn't see the coldness I had come to envision while reading the book. The book led me to picture someone more detached from the proceedings until motivated to violence, the inverse equal of the mouse character, who had both violence and passion. Also, I found the costume choice for him most fascinating. Not so much white. The coat is more gray, and all his clothes are muted, almost dingy looking. I don't normally notice things like that, but there was so much emphasis on what he was wearing and how he looked in the book. The implication seems to be that this character is just damn dirty from the inside out, like the darkness of his soul is leaching into his clothing. So no matter what he tries, he cannot hide the darkness of his soul. That's a neat trick, and I thought it was really cool, if that's what they meant to do. But I did feel that the overt white and cleanliness that the character exuded in the book worked better, because in that case, Albright is clearly going to extremes to disguise a soul that is actually darker than Rollins' skin. In this way, he's also the inverse of Rollins. But being white on the outside, he gets a free pass. Now, other than all that, this film is also a good little yarn. It's well shot and it's got decent performances across the board. The director has a couple of points where he uses ever so brief flashbacks in really kind of a 90s and a retro fashion. More retro than 90s, thank you. And I thought that worked very well. The soundtrack is a study in that certain type of late night city jazz. There's probably a real name for that, but I don't know. That's what I call it. It's a nice film, but I wouldn't say it's a rewatch. I wasn't any more impressed by it than I was when I saw it 30 years ago at age 16. Yes, it's rated R. I was a film nerd. They knew me at the theater. But both the book and movie are worth checking out. Under special circumstances, maybe, like preferably on a rainy afternoon with a cup of weak tea and a dog at your feet or a cat in your lap. Both versions of the story just aren't ones you're going to be in a hurry to get back to anytime soon. Although, you may feel the need to fill more rainy afternoons with more of the easy Rollins books. I would definitely recommend that. And there you go. Those are my thoughts on Devil in a Blue Dress. One thing that I did think of is that it's been 30 years. What if they took another crack at this book, made it into a movie or a brief TV show? Or, well, I don't think there's enough there for a TV show. But if they remade the movie, who would you cast as who if you have read the book or seen the movie or both? What are your thoughts? I wasn't sure myself. I think because I have not watched enough black-centered media. So I should definitely do more of that. About the only one I got was Mouse. Definitely him. But yeah, other than that, well, I just love to know your thoughts on all this. And if you've seen the movie or read the book, what did you think? Anyway, that's it for me this week. I will see you next time. Until then, have a good week. Or maybe not so good a week, but I hope it's at least okay and get through and all that good stuff I'll be pulling for you. Bye now.